Joining us right now is Ambassador James Jeffrey. He's a former U.S. envoy for Syria engagement, also the former U.S. ambassador to Iraq and Turkey. Ambassador, it is great to have you here. Thank you for coming on. And President Biden, he spoke out in a new statement saying that he's outraged and heartbroken, in part saying that Israel has not done enough to protect aid workers to deliver desperately needed help to civilians. He goes on to say that the United States has repeatedly urged Israel to deconflict their military operations against Hamas with humanitarian operations in order to avoid civilian casualties. What do you hear in this statement from President Biden being described as some of his harshest criticism yet publicly toward Israel?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, Kate. President Biden is getting increasingly not just impatient, but very, very nervous about this military campaign, not just for domestic political reasons, as you just reported a few minutes ago, but also because of the impact in the region. Basically, Biden understands Israel is fighting an existential battle, not just, but particularly in Gaza against Iran and Iran-backed surrogates throughout the region, and this is a fight that the United States has joined Israel in for good reason. The problem is the way Israel is carrying it out. As we just heard from the head of the World Center Kitchen, Israel's rules of engagement, as we call them, for using force in this battle are far too loose. They must be tightened. President Biden needs to insist on this. And there are specific steps, such as opening new crossings from North Gaza into Israel to let more food in, and Israel returning to cooperation with the main UN organization, UNRWA, that provides food to some 1.1 million people in Gaza under good conditions every day. These are things that President Biden needs to really insist on before he gives a green light for any more new Israeli offensive actions.
You mentioned Iran, and I wanted to ask you about that because you have been speaking about this very forcefully for some time, and I was noting just in late March, you were talking about the bigger picture here that shouldn't be lost, even though every instance is important, saying that the thing that drives all of this conflict and tension, Israel, Gaza, and beyond, is Iran. You said this isn't just about the Israelis and Hamas and Gaza. This is about Iran and its surrogates in the whole region. The bigger issue is Iran, that Iran has been running roughshod throughout the region. What is the right amount of pushback to what Iran is doing? Is the Israeli strike in Syria that we've been reporting about, is that the right way?
Because this is a war, there is no perfect answer. It's a question of risks, assessments, probabilities. We have struck Iran hard several times. 1988, the Iranian Navy in the tanker war, obviously Qasem Soleimani in 2020, and just a couple of months ago, we struck back hard after 3 American soldiers were killed in Jordan. Iran usually, but not always, pulls back when they're hit hard, and that's what the Israelis are trying to do. I stand by my words that the main issue is this regional struggle that's been going on for 20 years with Iran on one side, Israel, the U.S., and moderate states on the other. The problem is, if the Israelis are not careful, the number one issue is going to be civilian casualties and humanitarian assistance. That is the terrible strategic mistake they're making right now.
You know, the former Russian president and former Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, he reacted to the Damascus strike this way, saying it would be interesting to see what would happen if Iran hypothetically attacked the U.S. embassy in Israel. I see vivid fear and confusion in the eyes of the Americans. He's known, especially recently, for his inflammatory language, but what is he doing here? How at risk are U.S. interests? Are they more at risk today because of the strike in Syria?
It's hard to evaluate in advance Iranian reactions. I don't think so. I think Iran has tried very hard to keep out of this conflict so far, allowing its surrogates, not just Hamas, but Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen attacking Red Sea shipping to carry the weight of this battle. Nonetheless, this is somewhat cynical. Iran has hit many embassies. They hit my residence when I was in Baghdad in 2011. So this is really absurd on the part of the Russians, calling out Iran for attacking embassies, saying Iran might attack embassies. Iran does attack embassies.
Ambassador, it is great to have you here to lean on all of your expertise. Thank you so much for your time.